87% of construction workers currently choose not to belong to any labor unions. And I must respond to something said a couple of speakers ago, that exclusion of non-union contractors is a mere social value. I would think that inclusion of 87% of the construction workforce is not only a social value and a construction value, it's a fundamental right in our country. Government-mandated PLAs result in the award of Federal construction contracts primarily to the much smaller group of unionized contractors and their union employees. This is special interest favoritism. It's not full and open competition. It's not what the law requires. That's why in 2001, President Bush issued an executive order, which was upheld in the courts, that prohibited the Federal Government from requiring contractors to enter into project labor agreements. During the 8 years of that executive order, there were no significant labor-related problems on any Federal contracts. The buildings did not fall down. Indeed, it was on project labor agreements, some of the most notorious ones, such as the Big Dig, the Iowa Event Center, Miller Park, all project labor agreements that were government-mandated, those did fall down, causing fatalities and untold damage. Open competition on the Federal sector under the Bush executive order obviously worked. Nevertheless, with no evidence of any problem, labor-related problems on Federal construction projects, President Obama signed his own executive order in February 2009, which revoked the Bush order that was working and instead encouraged Federal agencies to mandate PLAs on Federal construction projects exceeding $25 million in costs. But the President does not have the authority to override the Competition Act's requirement of full and open competition. There has been no factual justification for the change in policy offered up by any of the government agencies, including those who are in attendance today. We've heard a couple of rationales for it, that it's to avoid strikes. Well, there were no strikes going on Federal projects. To gain access to a larger pool of labor, tell us how that's possible when you exclude 87% of the workforce. Just to name a few of the false rationales that have been offered up in this. That's why ABC members have filed a series of bid protests with the Government Accountability Office to stop unjustified PLA mandates from being imposed by Federal agencies. Through these protests, we've forced a number of agencies to withdraw those mandates. Yet we continue to see threatened PLA requirements showing up on agency procurements around the country, as was confirmed again in Mr. Peck's testimony today that we're going to hear, but that we saw on the subcommittee's website. We intend to file a protest against the GSA's new preference policy in favor of PLAs on an upcoming project. That policy has already resulted in a multi-million-dollar increase in the cost of construction on a project awarded here in the District of Columbia that Mr. Ennis's company was excluded from, and GSA should be required